Okay. So, old Whiskey Dick Pete, as his old army buddies used to call him, that was his call sign. At least that's what Washington Post reports. He put this out in the middle of questions of whether he's a war criminal, probably after a few belts from the old bottle there. For your Christmas wish list, Franklin targets narco terrorists. That is the smartest thing to put out when you're on the verge of being tried for war crimes. So Mark Kelly here has kind of become a bet noir for the Chuds. When and talked about this and other things regarding Pete Hegseth.
I was talking about this from the beginning of this operation, that the thing that I am most concerned about is the very difficult situations that this Secretary of Defense is going to put service members into. And it's because this guy is so unqualified for the job. I mean, think about this. He runs around on a stage talking about lethality and warrior ethos and killing people. We have the most competent, capable military this planet has ever seen by far. That's not the message.
Not what the Viet Cong
that needs
say.
to come from the Secretary of Defense. The message should be about what's our mission and accountability and the rule of law and training. And let me make sure you're equipped to do really hard jobs. Let me give you all the tools you need to do something that often is an impossible mission. And instead, he runs around on a stage like he's a 12-year-old playing Army. And it is ridiculous. It is embarrassing. And I can't imagine what our allies think of looking at that guy in this job, one of the most important jobs in our country. In my view, after the President of the United States, it is the next most important job. He is in the National Command Authority for Nuclear Weapons. And last night, he's putting out on the internet turtles with rocket-propelled grenades. I mean, have you seen this? This is the Secretary of Defense. This is not a serious person. He should have been fired after Signalgate. And then every single day after that.
He belongs in the brig.
Okay, all right. So I hate to tell you this. I hate to tell you this. If anyone out there watching our show is a fan of this administration, the reason you're seeing 52-point swings in Trump districts is because you lost the normie fight.
Right.
You had Rachel Levine out there as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Yeah, most Americans, whatever you think about that, are not down with that. They think that's weird when you put someone like that in that position. Most Americans. Most Americans looking at Pete Hegseth and Mark Kelly are going to find Mark Kelly a lot more appealing and a lot more plausible. Yes, there is a whole idiocracy ecosystem that follows Benny in the closet and Gunther Eagleman, although most of them are increasingly bots. But those people are out there. This is what I voted for. That's a definite contingent, a shrieking one, but they exist. You lost the battle to define what normal is, or to define yourself as being more within those bounds than your enemies. Mark Kelly is looking like a pretty normal guy compared to this fucking crew. How many people do you think would see the Secretary of Defense tweet out something like that and not be aghast? That's not normal people. You made a plausible argument that the other ones were the freaks. And for anyone who wanted to pay attention, it was never really a good argument. You got Hulk Hogan going up on a fucking stage to endorse Donald Trump. You got Elon running around with a chainsaw with Mr. Afuera over there. They were always fucking freaks. But now the other side has played down their freaks. They've pushed them out of the spotlight and they're pushing forward, which politically is the right move. People like Mark Kelly, normies like Mark Kelly, people like that will appeal to the normies. And they told the Rachel Levines, listen, we don't literally want you to go back in the closet, but could you get in the closet for a little while? I mean, not literally, like figuratively, because we need the bald military veteran representing us right now. You're really not what we need. Anything, Keaton?
Well, even on the Rachel Levine score, now you got the guy there who's fucking sucks Hep B out of women's assholes.
Right. I mean, Rachel Levine is looking pretty mainstream by comparison to Secretary Felcher.
The guy who extracts hepatitis B from the rectum for pleasure.
Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time, even on that level, arguing that you're the normies now.
Oh, what a word.
But speaking of in the closet, here's Benny. Senator, and this shows you how little argument they have. There's pretty weak tea from Benny here. Senator Mark Kelly, who committed sedition, is losing his mind over Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's viral post of the Franklin targets narco terrorists meme. Did he seem like he was losing his mind to you? Did he seem like he was losing his mind to you?
Yeah, that guy was crazy. That guy was nuts.
Yeah, he seemed exasperated. He
He
seemed
should
like
say what he means, or else he belongs in the brig.
yeah, he seemed like a guy who has decided he's not going to shut up, even as this clearly criminal administration threatens to put him in jail for speech, for saying things that, frankly, are common sense. Yeah, you should not follow an illegal order. That's right there in the Pentagon's own manual. You're not supposed to follow illegal orders by definition because they're fucking illegal.
Right.
Okay, so you just saw Mark Kelly. Now here's another patriot, Nick Sorter here. This just dropped today. Just in, Secretary Hegseth makes. All right, so we were talking about this earlier. I always get Nick Sorter's account confused with Eric Doherty's account. Now, it's ironic because Nick Sorter is the one who exposed Sodagate, and Eric Doherty was one of the ones who were caught. But they have basically the same account stylistically. The way they make their points, it's not like Gunther Eagleman. I love this shit. I could watch this shit all day. They don't do that. They basically make their statements with caps and emphasis. So Secretary Hegseth makes all caps very clear. The fake news will not deter him from striking narco terrorists hauling drugs to the U.S. So let's see what old Whiskey Dick had to say here.
We've only just begun striking narco boats and putting narco terrorists at the bottom of the ocean because they've been poisoning the American people. And Joe Biden tried to approach it with kid gloves and allowed them to come across the border. Cartels take over community, 20 million people, hundreds of thousands of Americans poisoned. And President Trump said, no, we're taking the gloves off. We're taking the fight to these designated terror organizations, and it's exactly what we're doing. So we're stopping the drugs, we're striking the boats, we're defeating narco terrorists, and we're standing.
And you may say one thing, that drugs coming in through the sea by sea are down 91%.
I'm not sure either, sir, because
But down 91% by sea.
we've had a bit of a pause because it's hard to find boats to strike right now, which is the entire point. Right? Deterrence has to matter, not arrest and hand over and then do it again, the rinse and repeat approach of previous administrations. This is meant to get after that approach.
Give him another vitamin B shot. We need to do another one of these later on. Yeah,
to see an explosion in the fish population too, because nobody's going to be out there.
Nobody's going to be fishing.
Yeah.
So who seems like a fucking weirdo to you? These guys, this shaky drunk, and this serial con man, or Mark Kelly? Like who do you think the average American finds more credible and appealing? Look, the Republicans very often, until you got this crew of fucking freaks in office, they've been very good at playing to certain tropes of how Americans like to see themselves, even when they themselves are not that at all. George Bush is a great example. He learned how to talk kind of like these West Texas roughnecks. So he came off like a guy of the soil, even though you couldn't be more of an American aristocrat than George Bush. To some extent, that's true of Trump too. You know, his origin story. I've often said he sounds like a guy from a bar in my neighborhood. Trump grew up about 2 miles away from where I grew up. He hung around on the construction sites. That's how he picked up that demeanor and that mannerism. But overall, these people just come off as fucking weirdos. Like they are not able to present that, very usually fake kind of, yeah, I'm a real American. They don't even come off like that. Like Pete always seems like he is on the verge of having to check himself into rehab. He seems like your very shaky cousin that you always lend money to, that you're going to have to give a ride to the rehab place, and you hope this time it sticks.
Yeah, this is the uncle on Long Island that you run into once a year, and he forgets you're not a Ranger fan. So he starts ranting on about hockey as if you care, and you don't, and he can't tell that you don't. He just keeps going as if you're really interested in what he has to say.